Right, so today I'm going to be using the Ferrex Scarifier and Aerator again, but this time I'm going to be using the aerator setting to aerate the grass. So you can see about a couple of days ago in my previous gardening video, I scarified the grass. We've got some lines on the go at the moment, but the most important thing from it was, you know, we took a lot of that dead grass, not all of it. I think I was a bit conservative with the setting I used, but most of it. So we're going to use the aerator today. And I've decided what I'll do is I'll use all the different settings on the aerator itself just to see what sort of impact it has, and hopefully it doesn't rip the garden to bits. It's really simple to replace the blade on this aerator and scarifier. So as you can see, I've got the scarifying tool on at the moment. All you've got to do is there's like a little clip to unlock, and then you pull the clasp open, and then the roller just slots straight out. And then you can see I've got the aerator. So I was surprised with this at first because a lot of the aerators I've seen online, they do that thing where they take corks out the garden, and I was considering buying a manual aerator at first to take all those corks out, but this seems to do the job. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to use all the different settings today. I didn't quite manage to get down to -12, but you'll probably see why when you see the lawn in a moment. So this is what the grass was looking like just after I scarified a couple of days ago. And as you can see, there's still quite a bit of dead grass, you know, around on the lawn, and a lot of this does come up as well with the aerator. I decided to start with the +5 setting, with it being the highest setting, but I noticed straight away that all it was seeming to do was just nick the top of the grass blades, and you can see if they come down low now, it's not really done anything to the soil, it's not punctured any holes into it, so I thought it was time to go straight down to the 0 setting. I could sort of feel with the 0 setting that it was almost pulling me along a little bit, so I knew it was digging into the grass, but as you'll be able to see now, there's only small patches where it was nicking the grass, and this was the first indication to me that with my lawn being really uneven, I was going to have a bit of an issue with the aeration, because some bits are going to be ripped to shreds and other bits may not even be touched by the aerator. I went down to -3 to see if that had more of an impact, and you could feel it sort of moving me along even more, so I knew it was digging more into the soil. But I had the same issue, you can even see with the Ferrex now, it's sort of wobbling all over the shop where the grass is really uneven. And you can see where it's just nicking the soil in patches, and then certain parts haven't been touched at all. And at this point I was a bit wary to go down too far with the settings in case it was going to destroy a lot of the grass. I then moved down to -8, which did have much more of an impact. I could feel it more pulling me along, but then this happened. So I think what it was that I hadn't replaced the bag at the back, and it seemed to have filled with tons of dead grass and soil, which you can see there. And it was clear to me at this point that the -8 setting was probably as low as I could go. I didn't want to go down to -12 because even though some parts of the grass were not being aerated, I didn't want to risk it ripping up what was already there. I think with it being my first time using any sort of aerator, I was a bit concerned that I was going to destroy the grass, so I felt this was the best setting to go with for now, even though it wasn't really aerating the garden a whole ton. It was still just ripping up lots and lots of dead grass, but it was nicking it in patches, which I thought would be okay for the time being. I did start to notice that the middle of the garden seemed to just be getting scarified, and only dead grass seemed to be coming up, and it was more the edges that were getting aerated more than anything, so I guess that probably just tells me that the level's different in different parts of the garden, which I'm going to touch on in another video. So you can see a lot of the soil was sort of torn into there and some patches at the front, but you can see there's still lots of dead grass knocking about. It may just be to do with me being too scared going down to the lowest setting, but I thought that would have been the best thing just for today. The biggest takeaway I got from all this was that my grass is really uneven, and I mean, I knew this anyway. I knew this when we laid the turf last year. We didn't really put much topsoil down, or didn't really dress it as we probably should have. So I think that's why I had some issues using the aerator. One thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to this where I want to try and renovate the back garden. I want to try and renovate all of this grass, but what I'll do is, instead of doing the entire thing, as I think it will be a massive job to do, I'm going to do it in patches. So I'm going to start off with a test patch, and if that works well, I'm going to do the rest of the garden. So I'm going to be heading to B&Q this afternoon to grab myself some topsoil, some seeds, a bit of fertiliser, and then I'm going to be posting a video tomorrow, which will be the first video where I start to do a renovation with just a patch of grass to start with. And if that's something you'd be interested in watching, you can subscribe and I'll be posting here on a regular basis. So my final thoughts then on the Ferrex Scarifier Aerator. I think it's a cracking scarifier. I imagine that's a really, really good aerator, but I just don't think my garden is the best garden to show off what it can actually do. So if anyone's got any more experience using this, just put it in the comments below so that anyone who wants to get a sort of an insight into what it's like with a more level garden, they'll be able to see that below. And finally, thanks for watching.